Hey guys, what's up? I want to talk about the helpers in this world, such as, and I'm a helper. My friends are helpers, and that's just what we do. And I think it has to do with the mindset we've had since we were children. Maybe we were our sister's keepers, or we had the kind and tender heart, and we saw a need and we met that need, whether it was physically, emotionally, mentally, financially, whatever the case was. But you've always had that heart. And so I want to talk to you and say, I think it's really important you think twice before stepping forward and with the attempt to save someone who you feel and may not continue to exist in this world if you don't do something. I was raised by a mom and dad, but my dad was an alcoholic. So I not only was his keeper as he got older, but I was also my sister's keeper. So I was always taught to care for other people. And so my dad and his drinking, when he was at his worst, I was in the military, we were married, we had children, and my sisters were always calling and saying, Dad's really bad, he's really bad. And we didn't have internet back then, so they didn't send me pictures. It was just not automatic transmission of photography and stuff like that. So my sisters were always just telling me it was really bad. So we took a 30-day leave when my daughters were, I think, 3 and 4 years old. I have pictures from that time. And so pulled up in front of my dad's apartment. He comes out. I was so shocked by his appearance. Now he was 6'2" and weighed 130 pounds. Talk about Holocaust survivor. That's the best way I can describe it. So he leaves his apartment. I was so shocked. My youngest daughter was still in the car. I shut the door and locked it by accident. So we had to call the fire department, my dad's friends, to come and unlock the vehicle. And so I was, needless to say, it was horrifying. And so I had him sober for 2 hours. He went through DTs. I didn't know what to do. Called my mom, got him into the ER at West Dallas Memorial Hospital way back when, and they strapped him down to the bed because he was going through withdrawals. And in the meantime, I'm sitting in the hospital, and he's calling me the B word and the C word, and he hates me, and how dare I, and I'm the worst person in the world. And so at that point, although he was not looking for help, I did the intervention, and eventually he got better and thanked me. But it was a couple of years after his stints in nursing homes and escaping and being homeless. It's not homeless, but looking like a homeless person. So it took him a few years to thank me. And so that was rough. Recently, where I used to live, I am part of a Facebook group, and I was informed that there's a homeless elderly woman living at a bus stop, and it's the middle of winter, and it's freezing cold outside. It's just some of the most bitter days and nights. And so I drove down there because my daughter from another mother lives down there. I drove down there with my husband, and I said, we got to get this woman a gift card so she can at least eat. And I showed up, and I gave it to her, and she said, thank you. And so the community rallied together to get her a hotel room. And that's just the way it was. And then I was able to help in some sort of fashion. And then people have been informing me of updates. And someone said that the hotel manager said she only had 55 days to stay. There was a GoFundMe set up for her, and that then someone mentioned there was blood in the hallway outside of her room. So I went with another woman, showed up at the hotel, knocked on the door, and at first she didn't answer. And then she opened the door a little. She said, "Are you here to fix the bathroom?" And I said, I'm here to help." And she shut the door. And then I said, "Well," I knocked on the door and I said, "We can't fix the bathroom unless you open the door." So she opened the door, let us in, and the room was horrifying. There was bodily fluids all over the room, the bed, the floor, the bathroom. The toilet was clogged up to nowhere, and I wish I had used a gas mask because it was horrifying. I should have used a hazmat suit because it was like that. And I looked at her foot, and it was necrotic. Necrosis is where the tissue is dead on the foot. So she probably was struck with some sort of frostbite that went too far, and she didn't get treatment. So we were able to call 911 and get her in the ambulance, etc. But while we were waiting for the paramedics, she's like, "F you, and get the fuck out of my room, and I don't need your help," and this and that. And I said, "You're going to die." And so despite her pushback. I'm stronger than twice her size. I was able to say no, get the paramedics in, and she was taken. But she is now in the hospital, and people in the community want to see her, and she just says no. This is not a person that asked for help. Granted, with the contributions of many people, she was taken off the street and possibly survived as long as she did because she was not out in the cold. But you got to be careful when it comes to our sons and daughters. Um, if they are in a mindset where they are not healthy, where it's negative, hate, disgust, they're attacking you and sending you negative messages and hate-filled rhetoric, you need to step away. I'm not saying don't help people, but you have to be very, very careful about who you help in this world. Help those who are happy with your assistance. There's plenty of people in this world. Your neighbor, if you want to help someone, go help your neighbor. If you have an elderly neighbor that has a hard time taking the garbage out, offer to help them, or cut their grass, or shovel their snow, or do something. Plant a little garden for them, and make sure you're investing in the right people. And I don't regret helping anyone, but it's hard when you get slapped in the face after you take these steps and you sacrifice yourself for the well-being of others. I will never regret helping, but I'm being more cautious about where I invest. My husband said, don't continue to help people. Nobody appreciates what you're doing. So anyways, I will continue to help, but I'm more careful, and I'm a lot more picky today. So anyways, that's all there is, and I will be back.